Quit acting stupid. With
Bobby,
Jamie,
Rudy,
and
Andy.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Quit Acting Stupid. I am your host, Jamie Paredes, and joining me as always are my brothers, Bobby D, Rudy, and Andy. Say hello, boys.
Hello,
Say
boys.
hello, boys. Jesus, what the hell?
I always wait because Bobby usually goes first, or Bobby and Andrew at the same time. So I lay back, but then I laid back because nobody was saying anything, and then we all three say something like idiots.
I was attempting the laid back strategy there as well, just trying to stagger it a little bit.
Will you guys just say hi? Hello. All right.
Hi, audience. ¿Cómo estás?
Well, we have.
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just we'll do this next episode maybe, but we should introduce ourselves with our names so that the people that are just listening know whose name is whose. Because somebody I know who listens only on Spotify mentioned that because we're brothers, all of our voices can tend to sound the same, and all that stuff. So it'd be helpful if we introduce ourselves. But we got more important business this week. But
I don't know if I like that plan of attack, but we'll see.
You know what I wanted to pass along to you guys. We'll see.
Hey guys, we have a guest waiting. Yay!
Yes.
Joining us is a good friend of pretty much all of ours. Andrew, I don't think you knew Lori. Lori Soto is a good friend of ours. And say hello, Lori.
hello, Lori.
Hello.
Hi,
See, that's how
guys.
it's done. That's how it's done.
Welcome.
Hello,
Jamie,
and they say hello.
That was a terrible intro, by the way, but whatever. You'll get better, I guess.
That's okay. I'm so glad to be here. And I did say this earlier. You guys weren't, Rudy and Bobby weren't here, but Jamie and I did my podcast a few months back, and I had mentioned that I knew there was a fourth brother, and I didn't understand why you guys didn't like him at all because he was not on your podcast, right? And so now he's here, and he didn't send flowers or like a thank you note or anything, but I feel like since I reminded him, those things might be in transit to Anna, Texas, right, Andy?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're on their way down there. Yeah.
Well, I like that you assume they don't like me and kept me out. When really, I didn't really care to be associated with them.
That's what you say. I just assumed. I think probably most people would assume. I don't think your voices sound the same. So, just another.
No.
Right. Mine is more debonair. I think it's more sensual.
Annoying.
He couldn't spell debonair if you spotted him the D, the E, and the B.
You want to spot me a D, don't you, Bob? Anyways,
well,
if I was introducing Lori, I would have said something like, our friend, host of the Make It Make Sense podcast. There's a lot of things like there,
Well, I'm giving her a chance now, but you have to keep talking. I'm giving her a chance to introduce Lori. Tell us what you've been up to lately. And that's where she goes in and talks about her podcast. Go ahead.
So, that's just, my fun, something to do on the side. You guys are far more industrious with it as of late than I am. But I'm from Kansas City originally, been in Texas for 14 years. We had one child in Kansas City and two while we were here. So legitimately have two Texans, and tried to talk to them about moving back to Kansas City recently, and they shut it down. So I think we're Texans. We say y'all as part of our normal speech. So, first of all, it's efficient, super, y'all, it's effective, it's efficient, it shortens conversations, but they just say it now. They don't sound like Selena Texans, but they sound like Texans.
So I have to ask on that note.
Yeah.
On that note, I need to find out, are you all fixing to do anything?
No. So I still don't enjoy improper English. Y'all is a contraction, so I'm okay with it, right? And it makes it more efficient. But fixing
So-
to what else do they say? They say Mike could. What is that? We
Mike
might could
could?
go there.
I
Mike
might could
It's
do
a
this
thing.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, Mike
Okay.
could.
I'm following you.
There are a lot of Texan-ese kind of things that you have to.
Yeah.
I used to insert y'all for effect because I'm in sales, and so it made me one of them. And now it's just efficient.
So you're officially
we all
one of
say
them? You're officially one of them now?
No. So I'm so apolitical that I could never really be, and I believe in climate change, right? So there are two things that knock me out. Like, I don't care about politics at all. I think we are hosed any way it goes. And I definitely think, I mean, I'm melting in Texas, so there's got to be something happening with the climate. And they just say that it's not happening here. So I think that in those ways, I'm not very Texas, but I drive really fast. I can't, when we go back to Kansas City, I can't drive, like I have to be chauffeured everywhere because I will get tickets all the time. Y'all drive so slow and it's so easy in Kansas City. And like, how many of you right now, let's look at it. How many of you are wearing a Kansas City or like some sort of like identifying
Not me.
something? Yeah, Royals.
No,
like,
I'm the Braves, but
y'all are so easily identified.
I know what you mean. I've never
Flipped
been
around.
anywhere.
I just assume.
Yeah.
All the time. Like the KC marketplace and all the stores, they're not tourists. Like tourists don't give a shit about that stuff. It's y'all buying like the stuff to wear like Joe's whatever. Like you guys know, you have a lot of
KC
Kansas
Pride.
City stuff.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. There's a lot of KC Pride. I think that's similar
Yeah.
to Texans, right? Texans got pride. in
Well,
their
no, Texans do it in a way that is it's more aggressive. Like Texans. Okay, so I've never known any other state in the union where people tattoo the outline of the state on their body like Texan. I know multiple people in Texas that have the outline of the state of Texas on their body. I don't know anybody in Missouri, and Kansas is a square, so like, or a rectangle, so like that's not happening. But I know multiple Texans that have the outline of Texas tattooed on their body. Like it really could secede the union, and they could be their own country.
I think the pride there in Texas is the same as the pride we have here in Kansas City. Although in Texas, it's a little bit to the extreme. I remember, we used to go down to San Antonio quite a bit, and I'll circle back to that here in a minute too. I was in school down there for a while, but we would always stay at the the Embassy Suites right there in the Riverwalk, and they always had the waffles that were in the shape of the state of Texas. Now, that seems to me a little.
They have those at the Davy Crockett Hotel too. There in San Antonio.
I knew it was one of those hotels down there. Yeah, so I think that's a little.
Well, I think Kansas
extra,
Cityans are just nicer about it. Like Dallasites are, well, Texans. Like, and so when you don't live in Texas, when you don't live in DFW, you assume DFW is the same thing, right? It's always talked about in like the same context. Well, It's not. And if you accuse a Dallasite of being from Fort Worth or vice versa, they take offense to it because Fort Worth is a little bit more country, and they would be like cowboy boots and cowboy hats and just friendlier and kind of they're a warmer group.
And you guys are a little more rock and roll.
Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. It's a little shot at all my Wyandotte County relatives. No.
Wyandotte, no.
Fort Worth is like Kansas City, though.
Well, well, maybe. I mean, the people are friendly. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that. But I think the offense, like even to this day, if I say I'm from Kansas City, when people say Kansas or Missouri, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, thanks for knowing the difference. Because the only affiliation I have with Kansas is I went to KU. But otherwise, I grew up on the Missouri side. And so when people assume that I'm from Kansas, I get offended. So, and the Dallasites do not like to be called Fort Worthians and vice versa. And Dallas is more cosmopolitan. Fort Worthians are a little more country. So it's just like, it's just not the same. And they're not really close together. I mean, Dallas is to Fort Worth as like Topeka, maybe distance wise, is to Kansas City. So they're
Mhm.
pretty spread out. But
Yeah.
Right.
anyhow.
Yeah.
So
No, I
Does-
recently went through there and almost lost my life back in April with all those torrential downpours that were going on. Yeah. It's just, had a miserable experience driving through there. But other than that, it was great.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the climate change I was referencing, I think.
Does your husband own a cowboy hat?
No,
Not
but
a Dallas Cowboys, but like an actual, like a Stetson.
no, I'm no. We all own cowboy boots though. But like
Okay.
that's just good fashion. That just makes sense.
Do
but
they
no,
curl up
no
at the toe?
cowboy hat. I don't think it's easy to wear a cowboy hat. Like to get in and out of a car, you have to like.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I got you. I hear you.
it's a whole
Just
thing.
checking.
Yeah.
Because how far are you? So you're from Anna, right?
Anna.
That's your Anna. So how far
So
is that
I
from
live in
Dallas?
I live in a teeny tiny town, super north of Dallas. So we claim Dallas. I don't know if Dallas claims us, but we are I'm actually 36 miles from Oklahoma. So I'm like up there.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be like Dallas, Richardson, Plano, Allen, McKinney, Melissa, Anna. Like I am up there. So yeah, so I don't go to Dallas. Like to go to Dallas is like I gotta go to Dallas. Like I went to Dallas today and it's like takes an act of Congress to get me to like make the trip, and it's like the whole thing. So and they drive crazy, and you can't really like you can't have road rage because they all have guns. So like you have to like keep it in check. So yeah. So and I drive a Tesla, so it's like that's not convenient because legitimately if I drive to and from Dallas, I will use a full charge. Like it's a whole situation. And we drove to Arlington the other day to go to the Royals game, and the Rangers fans were not nice because we were all decked out in Royals. Because that's the question in our house is like, do we wear Rangers or do we wear Royals? Well, of course, if the Royals are in town, we wear Royals. And the Rangers fans were not nice, and the Royals did not play well, so that they did not help us out. So,
yeah, you guys probably got it. Got a little ribbing from them for sure.
Yeah. No, we okay. So I have to say, anytime we go through Dallas, I'm with my son Quentin. He's a big Terry Black's barbecue fan. Are you? Can you give me a review or your opinion on Terry Black's?
No, because I'm from Kansas City. I don't eat Texas barbecue really, and that's one of the things I don't like that about the Texans because they are like really snotty about it. Now, but here's the real question. So in Kansas City, you guys have a ton of good barbecue, but I'm sure you have your favorites. So like what you're and in my opinion or in my experience, people are either Gates or Arthur Bryant's. Like you're one either or. You may have other ones that you like, but you're either Gates, which
Those
is
are the
super
old school.
vinegary.
Yeah, those are the old school people. Yeah, the new school is more of a Arthur Bryant's, I believe, is a sweet one. Yeah, the new people are Q39, Oklahoma Joe's.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I think Arthur Bryant's Gates, that debate was more of a sweet compared to because I think
vinegar.
Arthur
Well,
Bryant,
which one? Well, like so. Let's take a poll
Well,
because then I'll know
it would be Arthur
if I'm gonna
Bryant.
hang up.
Between those two, I
It would
really
be
like
Arthur Bryant. Yeah,
I would go
Gates is
Gates.
awesome.
Yeah,
I would go Gates.
Gates all the way.
I
think
do not
Arthur
love Gates.
Bryant's
My brother
is-
loves Gates.
Yeah, I'm a Gates guy.
Arthur Bryant's is horribly overrated, in my opinion.
Oh,
Disagree.
Vinegary barbecue sauce.
I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think it's overrated, but like if I had to go get barbecue right now, I'm going to Oklahoma Joe's, or Joe's Kansas City, whatever.
Well,
but
I can order.
Putting together like
I can order a Z-Man and they'll ship it to me. They'll dry ice ship it to me now.
Yes.
Really?
Which
Z-Man is the greatest.
Which I haven't, but I mean, I could see myself being really high one day or something and like doing that. Like I could see that happening. But no,
Z-Man get high and get a Z-Man and fry. with a Dr. Pepper.
Well, you'd have to pre-plan your high meal because like it would have to be here before for them to airdrop it. But go ahead.
I haven't had it, but I hear that a chicken Z-Man is amazing. I don't know.
I prefer the original, but
I've never had it. But I am a creature of habit.
You can get a chicken Z-Man if you're ever downtown in the Power and Light. They've got them at the County Road Ice House. They've got a chicken Z-Man. You can get there, and they've got the Joe's fries they're freaking amazing. Their fries.
The fries, I can make a meal. Just give me 2 bags of fries, and I don't even need barbecue.
Jeez, I can't even finish 1 bag of fries.
Oh no, I eat that until my mouth.
I'm sure you could.
Seasoning.
Me so hungry.
No, I couldn't. I'm starting to get a little. I'm slimming up a little bit, so
I'm very aroused.
I can't do a bag of fries. So,
well, good.
I would go Arthur Bryant's all day. I don't eat much Texas barbecue. I don't really eat much barbecue, but when I come home to Kansas City, I always will hit Arthur Bryant's, and typically it depends. It'll change between Q39. Like if we're gonna go sit somewhere and eat, we'll go to Q39, and if we're gonna take it and run out of a gas station, we'll go to Oklahoma Joe's. So
try Slaps next time you're in town. It's on the Kansas side, but try Slaps barbecue. It's very, very good. Very good.
Okay.
So have you had the conversation with these Texans about their beans by any chance?
No. Again, they have guns. No.
They have no sides. They have no sides. Texas barbecue has no sides to speak of or any sauce. Their sauce is terrible. I think that's the main difference between Kansas City and like Texas barbecue is the sauce. Sorry, my dog's acting.
I think the beans are worse than their sauce. It's literally just pinto beans.
Yeah, the beans are disgusting. But anyway,
how do we get on this?
Yeah, because we always talk about food around this time.
How long, Andrew? How long? And Andrew and I joke about how we should have a running count to see how long.
Andrew usually keeps time on when it is we start talking about food. So
this is probably about 14 minutes.
Well, I feel like I did. This was me, and I didn't know there was a timer. I did this one.
We would have gone.
Lay off me! I'm starving.
We talk.
We
would
have gone here even if you weren't on the show. We would have been talking food in no time.
Every time. So.
Yes. Yes. Well, hey, let's talk about my second favorite topic would be your podcast that I was on. And I noticed that, yes, your podcast, Make It Make Sense. I was on it's been a month or two or so ago?
Yeah, I think
it's been a minute.
I have to say that I checked it out, and my views were the most of your other episodes. So
were they really? Seriously, were they?
I think you're popular. Yeah. So I think that you're
he would
popular.
hop out and hop back in. That's all he would do just to get his views up.
It's. I know he's watched it 30 times. He failed to mention that. But so I'm gonna let you talk about. Obviously, it's your podcast. But I think, I know you're friends with Jamie, but I think after watching our podcast, it was probably me that should have been on. I'm more of you had to drag him along on your podcast, and it was brutal. Thank God you're such a good host, because he was just like, I don't know, man.
I mean, thank goodness there are so many brothers, because we can have more episodes and you guys can all guest star. But it's definitely a different podcast. So yeah, just one topic, and we go deep on one topic. But I think Jamie did a great job, and you're quite popular, yes, and so handsome. And I'm sure that they just found it on YouTube and they jumped right in. So I'm sure that's what happened. You guys should support that. You all kind of look similar.
You know why I don't support that?
Well, hold on. Stop the show.
Did you say we look similar?
You just said we all look similar.
I think we all look completely different.
So let's talk about genetics. I just had this conversation. I mean, siblings okay. So my brother and I, for those of you that know my brother, we look not anything alike. So the DNA failed us there. But even when you're full siblings, same biological parents, you only have 50% common genes, right? So you guys mixed it up quite a bit. But I mean, siblings, you look like you could be siblings, not identical. I think I've always thought, because I just knew them the longest, that Bobby and Jamie probably looked the most alike, but you might have just melded in my head because I knew you the longest.
Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
But Danny and I look nothing. Danny and I, although you call him Butter.
Butter, right?
You think Danny and I look alike?
I mean, maybe, yeah, I think. I mean, if he put a hat on and was sitting next to you, sure.
Wow.
Yeah, but tell me about this Butters nickname.
It definitely.
So
my understanding is it was Butter Bean, right? Is a boxer.
The boxer. Yep, Butter Bean. He's got a butter bean look, and then it just ended.
And that's that someone called. You know, it's and it got shortened to Butter. I mean, clearly we never call him. I don't call him Butter. I mean, I still call him Little Dan. He's not little. He's but he's little because my dad's Big Danny. We call him Uncle Dodo. He loves that.
Uncle Dodo.
So I never call him Butter, but like Uncle Dodo. So so I've never called him Butter, but Butter. That's the one that stuck. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I enjoyed his episode.
I think he looks very much like my dad. He did.
I
he did an
enjoyed
episode.
his
Did you watch his episode?
Yeah. I was gonna say I enjoyed that. Because that was about online bullying. I like how he admitted
which he's an online bully.
He's a troll.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Or not awesome, but yeah.
Well, I think you froze up a little bit. Okay.
Well, and I know I don't know if it's my internet. I told you I live in the sticks, so it could be my internet. But for anyone typically shocking to people that he's a nurse, he's a super caring, like the kindest. He's won awards for like service and caring, and it's like such a departure from like people who know Butter would not think he was this like award-winning nurse for service, and like it's wild. But he's great at his job, and he's a great interview, and he's also a part-time internet bully. So who knew?
Does he live? Because I don't know this. Does he live down there in Texas with you guys, or near you?
He's up here.
Oh, he's here in Kansas City.
He's up here with us. Yeah.
He lives kind of like in that Children's Mercy, Truman Med area of Kansas City.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Crown Center, kind of that whole area. Yeah.
What led you to move to Texas to begin with? Because I guess I think maybe through Facebook I was like, oh yeah, okay, Lori's in Texas now, which is how I keep up with everybody through Facebook. But yeah, what led you to head that way?
So we were at a point where we had our first child and our only child at the time, and he was about to be school aged. And we were kind of like, if we're going to go somewhere, we need to go now. Cause like, I moved around in a ton of schools when I was little. So I was like, I won't do that to our kids. And so I was like, if we're going to go, we got to go now. And we knew we wanted to go to Texas. My husband at the time had lived in San Antonio for about 5 years when he was younger. And I know that it's still Texas, but seriously, it's hotter in San Antonio. And I was like, it is like living on the actual sun. I cannot. And it's 4 hours further. Like, you know, if we go to Dallas, like we wanted to be somewhere where there was family. Well, my uncle was here. His brother was there. And so it was between San Antonio and Dallas. And I was like, well, if we go to Dallas, we could conceivably come home for a weekend if we wanted to. Like we never did. We never do. But like we could drive home in a weekend. And so we landed in Dallas. And it's a little bit bittersweet for me currently because my uncle that we moved here for actually passed away on the 8th of March. He had a massive heart attack on the golf course and just suddenly died. And so it's like, I mean, even though we've been here for 14 years and we have a life here, you kind of feel like an imposter a little bit because like Uncle Tony's not here anymore. And so it just is a little bit bittersweet. And I can't really go anywhere in town where there's not an Uncle Tony memory. And my kids grew up with that kind of like, it's my dad's brother that's like, they're like Mexican twins because they're like from the July 14th to July 22nd of every year, they're the same age. Like that's how close in age they are. And so it's my dad's brother. And so my kids kind of grew up really close to him as if it was like their grandfather. And so that's how we ended up here. And that's why I had the conversation with my kids about like, maybe it's time to go back to Kansas City. And they like shut it down. But I really was like struggling with, should we even be here anymore? Because I feel like an imposter, like without him here, it just doesn't really feel like we should be here either. So sorry to turn it somber, but that is the real answer to that question.
That's great. Great story.
So
sometimes
he was a riot, and I say what?
I think I said sometimes we have poignant moments. So that was good.
I missed it. I think my internet is super spotty.
All good.
Couldn't be any worse than John Bailey.
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah. So, and I think before we started recording, Bobby had mentioned with the whole Texas thing, and you have a son that I believe played high school football or plays currently. And what kind of can you touch on what that whole craziness is? It a little overblown? Is it right on?
Are you out there on Friday nights?
It's wild. So Friday Night Lights are I mean, this is what we did in high school, right? I mean, Jamie, I went to a lot of Rockers games. I went to a lot of Miege games. I mean, that's kind of what we did on the weekend, right?
Right.
It is, and I didn't really watch the football game. I really couldn't have cared much less about football. I mean, we were there for the social experience, but here, I mean, and again, I'm in a little tiny town. The whole town shows up. It's hard for me because our colors are purple and white, the Coyotes, and that's K-State's colors. And I went to KU, so I struggled for a long time with this purple thing, but I've moved past it. And so the whole town shows up. Everyone's draped in purple. They tailgate before. It's like a thing. I would find myself like hurry up with the clock on Friday, or like I would block out my calendar. I'm like, I've got to get, this is a football team that, because he graduated, so he's now a year outside of it. And before they picked up this coach, they hadn't really done anything notable. And then Sam, they moved him to the starting center. And so I was like, well, kiddo, I mean, it means you'll get your hand on the football every single time. Every game, you'll get to touch the football. And so to go and see your kid play the entire and year, he's a year out, and they took state. So they're a good team. And then the docket, and we had to vote kind of like you guys did, but we ran across these while you were here. They look like college stadiums. I mean,
yeah.
Like they all so seriously. It's unbelievable. So there were like, my family would travel in. They would travel to like come see games. Uncle Tony would come from Dallas, and I just told you how far that is. Like he would drive every Friday to see Sam's game wherever it was. And my family from Kansas City would come in. We typically had at every home game somebody from Kansas City that was here because it's such an experience. So the good news is I have another son. And so he's 13.
Do it all over again.
He will play, in a couple years, and we'll get to do it all over again, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. No,
maybe I missed this.
But,
did your oldest son, did his team win state? Is that what I thought I heard?
Oh,
She
we're
froze.
frozen.
Hold on. Go ahead,
All right, you back?
Bob.
I'm here.
I know your question again.
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Okay,
the,
good.
the question was whether did they win state? I think I heard you say they did.
They won state this year. Yeah,
Okay.
they did not win. They were two games out, and it was emotional like that when they lost, and they lost to the team that ended up winning state, right? But it was like
Okay.
the parents were crying, the cheerleaders were crying, the football players were crying. I mean, it was like you would have thought that someone had run over our pet. Like it was
Yeah.
And
really
how
upsetting
big, like what?
when these kids lost, because we were so invested and they made it so far. Well, now what are we
Right.
supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what size school is this? Like what classification is it?
It's over.
Oh,
So
say that
I
again.
find
Man, I think she's got good stuff. I can't hear it.
I know.
Hold on.
All right,
She's freezing.
try it one more time. Actually, let me try to remove you and then put you back.
Yeah.
And see if that will clear. All right, let me add her back.
Dude,
Oops.
I'm getting excited for football season.
All right, you're there. Okay, let's see if that
Okay,
made any
now-
difference.
yeah.
You had asked. Okay. Yeah. So okay. Again, what we didn't hear the response on the side. Like what classification they are. Uh-oh.
Oh man, I can see her.
what
Can she not hear
so what division you mean?
Delay.
Yeah,
Yes.
like we're class. Yeah.
Is it one of the bigger schools?
Yeah, so I
in the
think
state?
they
Like,
are
how's that work?
yeah, so I think they're 4A, and they're like
Okay.
that was the big push for the new stadium, was to move to a 5A. Like they start there's like a, and this is probably true everywhere, but it's just there was some freshman that came in this year and has like he's spoken for one of these schools, and they talk about how like my brother came. So my brother was a big football player in high school, and he says it's unbelievable to watch football here. This is like watching college ball in like, so even the kids, they just built like a huge indoor training facility like the Chiefs have. My kid has one at his high school. Like it's unreal. It's unbelievable. They like went and recruited a kid from Allen to be the quarterback, and supposedly
Okay.
like his parents had to like second address, and like it's a whole thing. Like
Yeah.
they take it
See-
very seriously. And I was
Yeah, that's
like that bomb at the end.
That's-
Right.
I was
That
like
state
drunk
has
off
their
of it.
priorities in order. Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
They have their priorities in order. And
It's
that's
sad
no
'cause
joke.
I mean,
You mentioned.
yeah.
I was just saying you mentioned Allen, and I know off the top just from here, I know. Oh yeah, I know what Allen, Texas is, or like what that football program is, and that's no joke. Cool. Yeah, no, that's exciting because we're obviously huge football
it's
fans here, and we're just
So
Geeking
I
out.
mean, it's an experience. I think it's one that everyone should.
yeah. Now you mentioned
And I'm gonna guess
go
your
ahead.
son enjoyed it.
There it
his
goes
experience.
again. You should remove me and put me back in.
You're the highlight of the show. I can't.
You can remove her and bring her back.
Let me
I'll
try it
still
one more
be
time. Did you say you'll still be here?
I said I'll still be here.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
So here's like another kind of somber like real thing, and I don't remember feeling like super affected when I graduated high school. Like don't remember that being a huge thing, but I can see where it would be for some kids, and especially kids that were like super invested in their high school experience. But my son, who was like all in on football, he kind of, I think this year, like this gap year that he's taking, he's almost felt like a little bit lost because it was such a part of like who he was. And like I will say, like Sam is, so he'll just be 19 in August. So he's very young. He was 17 when he graduated, and I was 17 when I graduated because we have these summer birthdays. So in hindsight, like if I knew then what I know now, I would have kept him out another year because he could have, boys for sure. Boys, come on, quit acting stupid. You know, you guys could use, the boys can use the other year, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so
yeah,
if I had it to do all over again, I would have kept him out another year. But he's been kind of feeling a little bit lost. And I remember the same thing with my brother. Like when you're this football star at school and then it's just kind of over and you're not tall enough. And I mean, I don't know what kind of corn-fed these kids here, like these kids are enormous. And like Sam's not a huge kid, so he was perfect to be the center because he's very bottom heavy. Like, he's got a big ass and big legs, and it was perfect for the position he was at. But like he wasn't going to go play college ball, at least not, you know, like some of his friends were, right? And so he could have gone to a smaller school, but he just, if he wasn't going to be the jock and he wasn't going to be the star, he didn't want to subscribe, and he kind of felt lost. And I think I felt like my brother kind of went through the same thing. And so I think it's like something for parents for sure to keep an eye on, because it's a real thing. Like, and I didn't play sports in high school, so it was just like, okay, I mean, you know, whatever. But he was affected. So
much of his identity was
and I was a little affected. I miss going to those games. So luckily I have a 13-year-old. And then don't get me started. I have the girl and cheerleading. And, you know, there were all those shows about cheerleading and moms, like, you know, Nancy Kerriganing, like kids and stuff. Like, so I have the girl, but like, honestly, and God bless America. She just told me, I just found this out yesterday, and I seriously could do a rain dance. She told me yesterday that she's not going to cheer this year. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus, because the way that it works is the younger you are, the like earlier in the day and the heat your games are. So you as the parent, you can't take off any more clothes or have any more umbrellas, and while your kid is like cheering. So thank God she's kind of a little tomboy. She wants to play volleyball this year, and softball and basketball is her favorite sport. So yes to the indoor sports, because cheerleading was gonna be the death of me.
Yeah, that would have been miserable.
That sounds like Rudy.
So cheerleading's the other
around bucket naked.
I said Dallas Cowgirls once.
Sorry.
Don't call them the Dallas Cowgirls. They will bite your head off. I was like, what's their name then? They're the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Whatever. Tomato.
No, that sounds like Rudy.
That is a little bit about Texas.
He had a thing where didn't you get you were excited that your daughter was in dance and not in anything outside because you got to be in the air conditioning.
So like it was midsummer. I think it was one of my daughter's recitals. It was at Liberty North High School, and Bobby came to support, you know, and he kind of looked at me at intermission. He's like, hey, I got to leave to go to Tomas's game. Like, I get to go watch baseball. And I'm like, yeah, well, I get to sit in the air condition, and you've got to go out in the sweltering heat. Like, I think I win. Like, I think I win this. Like, it makes no sense to me. It's too hot. Absolutely too hot. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Laying inside in the cold theater all day.
It's too hot, seriously. Yeah. And especially when they're not great at it. I hate to not be a supportive parent, but when they're like, when it's T-ball and they're like striking out, I'm like, this is
what are you doing?
I could be doing other things right now.
Avery.
I could be doing other things. And
I came out to see Avery. I came out to see Jamie
cheer.
I came out to see Jamie's daughter, and it was pretty hot that day.
You came out to see Jamie's. Well, I'm glad that you guys support each other's like kids.
And
more of an obligation, but yeah,
occasionally they just show face, so I can't badmouth them later on.
Right. That's the only. I just want the photo op.
Pretty much. Yeah. See, look, evidence that we were here.
That's so great.
Put it on
though.
Facebook.
So yeah, he showed up, and she wasn't the most talented by far, or the most interested. She was just not. She's more into the social aspect of it, and yeah, she was the motivation. She's not motivated by much, but we told her that she could be the boss of the family if she got a hit. And so then, you know, whenever she would get a hit, she was just like, you know, all she cared about was, hey, so I get to be boss now? Like, yeah. So, but no, she just wants to be with her friends and talk and all that stuff. So yeah, that's my experience. And I'm here, I'm the benefits
boss, so that's a girl after my heart. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever motivates them.
She's a little Lori in the making, I think.
So I am mother of the year. Let me prove it. So my eldest son, who's 19, who will be 19, he's real. I knew this was gonna be the case. He's very like sensitive. He's like monogamous. He's very much like the one girl. He's super devoted. I knew from like the time he was little, this is how it was gonna be. And then I have Sebastian, who I thought would always be kind of more like play the field. He's too cool for school. Like he's a very different child. So I'm seeing Sam go through like heartache with this girlfriend and like, you know, just like stuff that when you're older, like when you're a kid, it feels like the end of the world. But now that you're this age, I have zero tolerance for it. Like I have no patience. I'm like, this is ridiculous. You're gonna have 100 girlfriends. Like this is crazy. And so Sam is so like into this girl that I don't want the same road. So I told them, I'm like, hey kids, if you make it all the way through college graduation and you don't have a serious girlfriend or boyfriend, significant other, you can date, you can go to prom, you can make out, you can do all the things, but you can't have a serious boyfriend or girlfriend. When you graduate, I will give you $10,000 at your graduation. And so, and I am all about bribing my children with whatever is going to work in my favor. So that is worth 20 days if both of them follow through with it. So I am basically mother of the year, pretty much. I mean,
especially if you figure that, you know, if one of them accidentally has a child, you're talking $10,000 a year in like childcare. So you actually, would be coming out ahead in that deal, I think. Yeah.
This is money well spent, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned high school.
So hold on, before we move off that, they have willingly accepted this offer of.
Yeah, it's $10,000 and they're kids. That's like $1 million. I might as well have said $1 million to a 13-year-old. Yeah. And so, and nobody believes me, like, because it sounds so ridiculous that, and so I fully believe, like, I don't know if you guys read The Tipping Point, and when they talk about like names and what you name your kid, like it totally affects the outcome of their existence, right? If you name your kid, I don't know, Cinnamon, we know how it's going to turn out, right? But like Sebastian, to be named Sebastian, like a little person with that name, you got to have some swagger because you got to pull off that name. And he really is every bit of it. He's like super cool. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. And honestly, like he said to me just the other day, so this is my Sebastian. God bless America. So this kid, we have a neighborhood page. Do you guys have neighborhood Facebook pages? The worst invention ever. Like I've quit and gotten back on so many times because these people are like ridiculous. So I got
otherwise,
off,
who's going to let you know about the dog that was found abandoned and that sort of thing?
Or who's going to let you know about my child? Because I get a screenshot the other day that is a picture. It's like a still picture of like Sasquatch, right? Of my kid on a Ring camera. And he had gone out with one of his buddies and they were ding dong ditching, right? So like not the worst. I mean, it's annoying. Like it's annoying, but it's
Right.
not like a capital offense. And these people are like up in arms. Like they are so pissed. And so I call Sebastian in and I'm like, Sebastian, like, why can't you just stay out of trouble, babe? Like, come on. Or at least don't get caught on camera, like something. And so he's like, I said, Bass, they're telling me you're going to be, you're for sure headed to prison. You are like, this is a gateway crime. Like, this is it. Like, good luck. And I need to do a better, like, these people are out of control. And he looks at me and he says, and he says it in all seriousness, because I'm, of course, like their like child. So of course I'm like really kind of getting my back up about it. And I say, Bass, like, this is what they're saying. And he looks at me and he says, Mom, what do I care what these people say about me?
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what, bud? Ungrounded, not in trouble. Keep that, do more of that, because like if you can hold on to that, if that's how you feel at 13, keep that until you're 33, because that's probably when I figured that out. Like, do more of that.
Yeah.
So like, no, he's way cool. And this is the second time he made it on the neighborhood page. The other time he was a little kid and him and his buddy were out. He was little and they were writing, they took like clumps of mud and they were writing in the mud on fences, and they were writing cuss words, but they didn't really know how to spell the cuss words. So like we get this neighborhood, this picture, and I'm like, oh Jesus. And I'm like, hey Bass, how do you spell that word that you wrote? And he's like, F-U-C-H. And I'm like, well, we know which kid it was. We know which one it was. Like there he is. He's caught. And so that's the joke around here is F-U-C-H, because Sebastian is my delinquent child.
Oh,
so,
yeah, my son broke son threw a rock.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to pay him.
My son threw a rock and broke the back window of a SUV.
He hears me talking about him. He just came to the room like,
oh, that's hilarious. He can hear you.
Don't worry. Tell him hundreds of people are going to hear this story now.
Yeah.
Fours and fours of people.
Fours and fours. No, but Manny threw a rock and broke the back window, and it happened to be the chief of police. And so we had a whole situation with that. He must have been 8, maybe 10 years old, maybe 13, possibly somewhere around there. But yeah. So it's fun.
Let's get back to the fact that Sebastian has got some courage.
Yep.
Let me tell you, I don't know that
everybody, you all have children? Everybody has kids?
Yes.
But that takes some courage to be ringing doorbells in Texas, knowing that somebody on the other end of that door might be harmed. Don't think I'd be doing that. And maybe they didn't think of that at the time.
Well, I mean, it's like these people were like, that's a good way to get shot. And just like really like out of control. I mean,
wow.
As if that's the proper response to somebody ringing your doorbell.
Again, needless to say, I'm not on the neighborhood page anymore because I got on and said my piece and then I got right back off because I also have to sell, like, because I'm the resident health insurance person for Anna, Texas, because like realistically, you all could name 5 different for insurance, but nobody knows a health insurance agent. So I always end up in those chats. So I don't want to piss anyone off too much, but they were picking on my little Sebastian. And I was like, I went all full mama bear.
Mama bear's got to stand up. Yeah.
And then I got back out. So yeah.
Said your piece and then got out.
Anywho.
Yeah. Now you have a big
I said
billboard,
my piece
didn't you?
and then I dipped out for sure. So
did I see a post where you have like an actual billboard in the town you're from or something? Or was I mistaken?
I did have billboards, yeah. Yeah.
And if I was a good host, I would have had a
which
picture of it.
is super weird to have, like, and people like, you got to take me out and put me back in. It seems to work better. Like, am I spotty on your side?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's
Or
try
when
it
you
real
come
quick.
back in, when you come back in it.
All right.
I'm looking for her billboard.
Yeah. I think it was on Facebook.
Yeah,
As
that's
am
where
I.
I'm
It's been a while.
at. Are you
All right,
really?
there we go. Okay.
I had 2 billboards, which is
Did you?
super
Okay.
weird. And there would be people that would take pictures and like call, like text me and send it to me, which is also super weird. But it's fun to see yourself on a billboard, and also super weird. Like, it was better when it was just
Now,
when my kids were. Did I what?
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you a fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm? That episode where the chick has a billboard and they had people getting up there drawing penises and stuff, or I'm
No,
assuming
but
that
it was.
didn't happen.
But thankfully, it was really high off the ground. So honestly, if they had climbed that distance and drawn a penis on it, I would have supported it just because of the effort that went into the artwork. Like, I would have been fine with it because it was way up there. So,
Right.
it is what
Right.
it is. So,
Good.
Not finding
Yeah.
the billboard. Sorry.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I think it was a Facebook post that you had made a long time ago. I was like, oh,
I'm
that's
not-
pretty badass. But yeah,
I'm not good at searching.
you had touched a while back on high school, and I wanted to ask you if you have any recollection of your homecoming freshman year and what that consisted of, because we've talked about that day, I think probably twice on this podcast,
At least.
for different reasons.
I mean,
But do you have go ahead.
I remember what I wore because I'm a girl.
Right.
I remember that, I mean, we were in the same group there, right?
Yes,
yes.
And
I went
pictures
with James Hernandez, and is like, did he fall off the planet? Like, I seriously, I probably saw him until like sophomore year, and then he just like was like a cloud of smoke. I don't know what happened to this person. I don't know if I would know him if I saw him.
He just posted a
here.
picture. Yeah, he just posted a picture the other day.
I think we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's cousins with some of my cousins on the other side, because that's the other thing about Kansas City. 2 things. One, all the Hispanic people are probably somehow related, some sort of affiliation, and everybody knows everybody else. Like, it's really small. Like, that is what's weird about going back to Kansas City. Even to this day, I almost can't go anywhere. If I spend an extended amount of time, I will see people I know. I will run into people I know. I don't have that here very much because there are 8 million people here. But like there, I'm probably going to see people I know. So
that's kind of nice. Yeah, my wife and I, we had to make sure.
Fact about Kansas City.
We had to talk through who our family members were. My mom asked when my wife and I started dating one another, and I thought my mom was just being nosy. But then you mature, you get older, and you realize, no, there was a real reason why they were asking, who the family was. It was because you just never know in Kansas City, especially when you're Hispanic and in our community here. It's small.
Grandkids are cute, but they're less cute when they have like a 4th arm. Like, it's less cute for grandchildren to have an extra appendage. Like, yeah, she really wanted to know. I get it.
Yeah.
Totally.
And fun fact, on that you mentioned their first date was on our homecoming. That was their
yes.
We were at the same place.
The first date for me and my wife was October 6th or 7th, 1991. Maybe it was the 5th, October 5th. But anyway, 1991, that was our first date together, and that was your freshman homecoming.
Yes. Bunch of freshmen. We were in a group of about 8 of us, I think. And yes, Lori and I were in the same group of homecoming.
Steve Avila? Steve Avila.
Yes, he was there too. Yes.
You guys had
Yes,
dinner
good
at
time.
Anthony's?
Yes,
How
who
weird
we-
is that? Because that would have made us. We would have been freshmen. You would have been a senior. Is that right?
Junior. I was a junior.
Would
So I
that
was
have been your senior year or junior year?
It would have been my junior year.
And I thought you were like so. I thought you were so much older than us, and really 2 years is
2
like
years. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
But like it felt like you were
Yeah.
so much older than us.
Because I was so
14-year-old.
And another
mature.
fun
Oh my
fact.
gosh.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, we went to Anthony's restaurant on that homecoming, and we had the namesake of Anthony's restaurant on our podcast, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Anthony himself. So
Anthony
yeah.
Spino.
Yes. But anyway. Well good. Okay,
Oh
so
wow.
you went
See, and
to
that's the charming part of Kansas City.
yeah, like you said, everybody knows everybody.
Well, Anthony's in New York now, but yeah, he still comes back quite often, and so yeah, we all
Everybody
get connected.
I have to ask because you went to St. Teresa's, and so
I love it.
yes, we what would you say to somebody who challenges the reputation of somebody who went to St. Teresa's? We joke because we had somebody who went to Scion on recently, and so there was just a discussion.
We had a Scion alumni who we discussed why she chose Scion over St. Teresa's. You might have
So so give your best plug for St. Teresa's, please.
if she heard any of that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Take her out and bring her back in.
Okay.
Because I want this answer. Also wanted go ahead. I don't know how long you gotta wait.
All right, let's try it again.
Uh-oh.
You
We
there?
might have lost her forever.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're never gonna get the answer. Oh,
Cliffhanger.
Wait, hold on.
Cliffhanger.
Boy. Man, these internet issues are.
I know. Okay, so
Oh, there
what
she is.
about St. Teresa's?
Okay.
Okay.
So basically, we had a prior guest who was who didn't look favorably upon St. Teresa's. Would you say? And so we were just just looking for your experience and give your best plug on the benefits of St. Teresa's.
Well, I would say if we live in Kansas City, Isadora would for be where she would. I love St. Teresa's.
All right.
God,
let me try
I
this
feel like
again.
we're missing a good story here.
I know.
I know.
We're missing a good story.
All right, Lori, if you could hear us, let's re-rack that answer.
Right.
From the top.
Take two. All right.
Roll.
Let's see. We have better luck this time.
Okay.
Hello. Okay.
Can you
Let's try that answer one more time.
Okay. So, we lived in Kansas City. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
No. Hold
Clear
on.
now.
I gotta disconnect and reconnect. Hold on. You can hear
If your boys are playing video games or streaming a movie, tell them to stop.
Yeah, tell everybody turn the TVs off, turn the video games off.
That's all right. Well,
I also want to know about her podcast. Why is nobody asking her about her podcast?
I want to ask about.
we need to get there. We need to get there. Yeah. When we get this straightened up, we need to ask more about her podcast. All right. Let me try this one more time.
Oh, she's gone.
About she's not there.
Yeah.
So she and I worked together at Baby Gap and Gap Kids, hence my tagline there. I can still fit in Baby Gap clothes. That was really more a shot at the fact that I'm not much larger than I was in high school.
All right, you there? I see some movement, so I'm hoping we're much better.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Awesome. Can you hear us? Yes.
Yes. Go.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So if we lived in the city, Izzy would for sure go to St. Teresa's. I think if we could afford it, it's really expensive now, right? But I think I appreciated it way more when I was out of St. Teresa's than when I was there. But I know that, I was super young when I graduated from high school as well. Like I graduated when I was 17, and I also took a gap year, and then I went off to KU. And I will tell you, like, I had people at KU dropping out and failing out around me, and truly felt like going to school, to college, was just kind of an extension of high school. Like it really did feel like if that school was like coined college preparatory, I couldn't have known it when I was in it, but it absolutely was. And I mean, I had a very busy college career. I mean, I worked a couple jobs. I took a full course schedule. I had a boyfriend. I had a really active social life. Like I had a busy 4 years, and I never failed a class. Like it flew by. I did well. Like, so yeah, I would absolutely like endorse that school. I don't know that I would have wanted to be at any high school with social media. Like I think I see so much St. Teresa's stuff now. Like they're on, like I get to see what's happening with the school, and they poured a bunch of money into it, and like, geez Louise. But yeah, what was her beef with St. Teresa's?
I don't think she had a
What
beef with
didn't you
St.
like about it?
Teresa so much. Let me jump in. I think she preferred Scion over St. Teresa's, but I don't know that she had. Is that accurate?
Yeah, no, I think she was just being kind of goofy. We asked her why she chose Scion over
Playing to the
St.
camera, I
Teresa.
think. Yeah.
Because really, she's the only one that I know that went to Scion, really, and so I knew everybody at St. Teresa's. So
well, I have a daughter, so I'm going to start early, kind of push her to the single gender schooling option that everybody on this screen has experienced. So yeah. Anyway, yeah,
I had friends that went to I know people that went to Scion as well.
Did you?
But I never had an interest in Scion. St. Teresa's was, yeah, wouldn't you do anything to go do it all again? Like I would appreciate it so much more. I would try so much harder.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I would love it.
Yeah, the nostalgia is really high. Yeah.
So you want to talk about her podcast?
Yeah, let's get into your podcast. I know I really enjoyed. I started from the beginning, and I really liked your first couple.
There we go again.
I think you had one about religion. You kind of go more towards the I don't want to say controversial, but more, like you had one on religion, one on, I think monogamy, maybe. I really like the trad wife topic. So how do you go about picking those topics and just talk about your podcast in general?
So, I mean, I think anyone who knows me would say that I have no shortage of opinions. I'm a pretty opinionated individual. And I think, you live long enough in this life and you kind of form opinions about the things that are happening around you. And legitimately, it is a list in my phone of just things that are like perplexing to me and that I want to have a conversation about, like just more dialogue, because I don't think that I am the end all be all. I want someone to change my opinion or give me an alternative view on it. The trad wife thing is a great example of that, because I think that I grew up in a time where our parents, our moms specifically, like had fought like to get out and work and like be a part of the experience, and almost like, you know, it was kind of frowned upon if you were like a stay-at-home mom, like, or people use certain terminology like, oh, she's just a stay-at-home mom, which is like such a kick in the nuts. And so like, honestly, that's the job I can't do. I go work because I can't do that job. Like, I don't have the patience for it. COVID taught me that I am not a stay-at-home mom. And so, you know, that to me is a very interesting topic, and one that I don't understand. And it's a whole movement now. There's a whole generation of people that are entering into a trad wife relationship. And I just worry about, you know, things like if divorce is still at 43%, and these people are not setting themselves up for, if that divorce comes, what happens? Because it's hard enough to go back to work when you're house, but can you imagine if you didn't have any money in the bank, like you didn't set yourself up, and you've been out of the workforce for this long, what that's like? I can't imagine. So it's perplexing to me. I mean, there are other topics that we haven't even done yet, like, can men and women really be friends? I don't know that I think that they can. I think if you find yourselves not in relationships, eventually you'll hook up. If you're you're both reasonably attractive, and eventually you're not in relationships, you'll probably hook up. So like, and people have varying opinions about that, but I just think there are so many topics like this. And I have a lot of like definite repressed weird stuff from Catholicism, because man, they did a number on me for sure from early on. So I've got real opinions about that stuff. So, you know, it's interesting to, like, I'm eternally impressed by the people that, and their opinions, and like the friends that I have that I get to have a conversation with. And so it's just fun to like get together and chop it up. And I've changed my mind a couple times. I've had a very interesting experience with race, because I look to be this kind of racial chameleon. Like, I think people look at me and they see whatever they feel comfortable with. Like, I've heard Greek, I've heard Jewish, I've heard Hispanic, I've heard Italian, I've heard white, I've heard black, because I just look like this mutt. And really, I'm Irish and Native American. It's not that exciting, but people will just kind of assign whatever feels comfortable to them to be what I am. And so it allows them to like drop their guard racist around me, because they think that we're the same, you know, like, and there's no one more racist on the planet than any old man of any color. They're all racist.
At that point, they don't care.
They're all kind of racist, and they'll just say whatever and let it fly. And so racism's kind of wild, and I've had experience with it.
Huh. Yeah, no, I guess I assumed you were.
What was that? Sorry, it cut off someone. What were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say I assumed you were. I assumed you were Hispanic like the rest of us, and because we all kind of hung out together. I guess you, like you said, you know, we just kind of assume that, you know, you're part of one group, and yeah.
So it sounds like you actually cover real interesting topics.
Yeah.
As opposed to the.
So you don't just flip on the button and just go with just talk like we do, like idiots.
It's interesting concept. Interesting.
No dick and fart jokes. No.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I wish we had a fart sound
you know,
effect earlier, but
it is kind of interesting. I mean, I think I always start out with kind of an idea, and I feel like I have an opinion and an agenda, and then I'll definitely do a little bit of research and write down a couple things that I want to touch on. But it's an organic conversation, and all I do is tell them, like, this is what we're going to talk about, and let them come with whatever they're going to come with. And it is pretty organic. I mean, it's more fun that way. I feel like when things are scripted, and contrived, they're just not as entertaining.
Well, it is
So
smart
and to keep
motherfucker,
something
that's
going
right.
for an hour is always a challenge, right?
Yeah. I mean, we used to start that way. We'd sit there for about 30 minutes before hitting record, and we would say, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to go there. And then like 3 minutes in, we're off somewhere completely different that we never talked about. So I think in that regard, we kind of just stopped preparing and just flip it on and let's go. And
Lori, I want to know how many times during your last episode did this sound effect play? I mean, was that part of your show ever?
It played 0 times, but I could probably use it in my everyday life all the time. So
yeah.
At some point, we stopped trying to be serious and just thought, let's at least be entertaining.
Because this started out as a
You just make a joke, Bobby.
I did just make a joke.
This started out as a parenting podcast, and I think around episode 4
That's
we
what I
realized, this wasn't going to work. Like why would anybody listen to us? But yeah, so
we're terrible parents, and it's better to make
an even worse.
Well, I mean, I think no, I think hats off to you. I think you guys you like your siblings who like each other. I think that's
Slow down.
and do you guys all live are you spread out all over Kansas City? Are you in different areas of Kansas City?
Actually, me, Jamie, and Andrew are really close.
Yeah, I guess now we are.
I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm out in Lenexa.
He's way out there, so
yeah. I'm in the far southwest. They're up in the north.
So I mean, I think that's yeah. Well, that's great then. So this is a way for you to still come together because here's the other thing. Let me give you another Kansas City true fact. When I lived in Kansas City, and you guys are the same way. If someone said to me, come to Overland Park, you were like, oh my God, it's the end of the earth. Like, I don't know that I can do that. That's like, I'm going to have to catch a flight. I don't know if I could do it. And now that I'm in Texas, y'all, I drive to get to, to get from Anna to Allen, and don't even get me started if there's traffic. It's a good 30-minute drive every morning just to get to work. And, when you're in Kansas City, to drive 30 minutes, it would never happen. But here, you just part of the gig. So, you guys probably from Lenexa to Liberty or wherever you are up north, you probably wouldn't see each other. So this is good. You're using your resources. I support it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, if this is how much you talk, I can understand why they didn't invite you.
We just kind of elbowed him out.
You're super quiet, Andy.
Well, two things. One, there was some commotion happening in the kitchen, so I was kind of just muting.
I was going to say, who was doing dishes?
Kaylee. They're going to the Royals game tomorrow, and they're tailgating, her and her work team, and so she was making some
cymbals. You had a percussion practice going on in your kitchen.
Was it really that bad?
Oh. It was up there.
Thankfully, you muted.
Oh, okay.
What was your other your second?
Me?
What was your second?
I don't remember. What was I gonna say? Oh, I don't know. I was just sitting back because you all have a shared history, and even though I have a similar background, obviously with these guys, but also like we mentioned, rocker, single gendered, educate, all that kind of stuff. It was also a different era completely. So I don't know. I was just kind of hanging back and and also I wanted to keep chiming in with some funny stuff, but I feel like we moved past it so quickly onto the next topic that I was like, oh, okay. Well,
one thing I want to ask real quick, because we got into education and private school, blah, blah, blah. Do you have an opinion on the 10 Commandments thing that's been in the news coming from a Catholic school?
So my only real opinion, Yeah, my only real opinion, like I honestly don't care what anybody in this world does at all. Like, I don't care who you love. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what you believe. I just don't want it crammed down my throat. And that feels a little intrusive. And I just
Right.
think like, ugh, I don't know. Plus, I think we might need a revamp on the like 10 commandments because like thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Isn't everyone coveting? I mean, honestly, like for a while now.
Yeah.
I just feel like
So-
we might need a redo.
I
So
feel
is
like
it-
it's the problem of the ladies in my neighborhood for coveting me.
it's been a
You know,
minute.
it's really,
Oh,
it's really their
gross,
fault. They shouldn't
Bob.
be coveting me.
Jesus.
Hey, shouldn't there be like "Thou shall not rape" on there? Isn't that a thing now? Like, where was that at? Is that fall into one of the?
I'm sure
Not
under
like a
adultery
re-
that can be found there.
The Bible. That was a different time.
Yeah.
I think that was.
I mean, that's a bad one, right? That should be on the list, right?
You know.
Or how
They
about
just looked the other way.
how
They
about
just looked the
just
other
like
way
thou
back then.
shall not? How about thou shall not P Diddy? Just in general, just like
Right.
any of the
That would
stuff
cover a
that he
lot of them.
does, you should do it.
Yeah.
You'd only need
like-
one tablet for that, and then you'd have a whole second. You'd have a whole second tablet for.
Quit playing with your dinghy.
How
That
about
would
"Thou
be it.
shall quit acting stupid,"
Yeah.
Oh,
but with no G, just acting stupid.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well,
bring
good
it in.
deal.
No, then you
Nice
guys
and
would be
tidy.
out
Yeah,
of a
that was-
job. You'd
Oh,
be
that's
out
right.
of a second job.
That's right.
If
Then what
ever-
would
yeah.
we be doing?
If the whole world quit acting stupid,
Yeah.
then we would have nothing to talk about.
Our Tuesday nights would be much more boring. So,
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
Lori,
boring.
thank you
Find
very
something
much.
to talk about.
Yes. Thank you very much for joining us in our
yeah.
Hold on,
this
hold on.
monstrosity that we've created. Go ahead.
Do you remember
man.
us working together at Baby Gap and Gap Kids? You were up on the sales floor, and I
do
was down.
remember.
You
below.
mama.
Of course, yeah.
Solid drop.
But there was
Yeah.
a guy I worked with down there in the dungeon when we were.
I do. I actually
Old Man Smithers, was he
can't
down in
remember
the
the guy's name. He was an Asian guy, and I think he also went to Rockhurst College
We
at the
didn't-
time.
Asian? That's not a good descriptor.
Yeah. Why's he gotta be Asian?
Asian American.
Well, yeah,
better?
I don't know why he's got to be Asian, bro.
Can't remember his name, and it bugs me because I was going to look him up on Facebook, but now I can't look him up. So I don't even know his name.
don't remember that person.
Yeah.
I went to the store in Lawrence. Like I actually kept working for the Gap for a really long time.
Ooh.
Oh, you were a lifer.
Wow.
I loved the Gap. I loved Gap Kids. Yeah, I did it. I did that for a long time until I went to Victoria's Secret. I did retail for all through college.
Wait.
So the Gap kind of ruined me until I went into banking and then now insurance, and it's kind of a
So you went
weird
from
trajectory.
Gap Kids to Victoria's Secret. Is that what you just said? It just seems like a big jump. Like there should be something in the middle. No. Oh, it's okay. Well, it's just found that odd.
Wow.
I mean, I went to Victoria's Secret when it was in its height. Now it's had some trouble, right? But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to be there then. Although I worked for Victoria when the song was out, so that was unfortunate. Like people would come.
When what
people are
was
so
out?
stupid, and they would come in, sing the thong song and
I
the
got
thong song. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
Thong,
Yeah,
thong,
I got
thong, thong. Yeah, you remember it. You
That was
know.
a great song.
You know it's
That
your
was a great
ringtone.
song.
Don't lie to me.
That was a great song. Cisco was the treasure.
Terrible song.
Cisco was an American treasure. So yes, that was great.
Points if
Well,
you,
awesome.
extra points if you can name who sang it.
Cisco.
Who sang it?
Cisco.
He gave out the name. Yeah,
Cisco.
he gave out the name.
Do you
Cisco.
remember?
Former lead singer of Drew Hill, Cisco.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm
That's
all
right.
over that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we end on Cisco. How we pulled Cisco into this conversation? It's impressive.
Victoria's Secret.
All right, guys. Thanks
Well, we
again,
want to thank you,
Lori.
Lori, for joining
Oh,
us,
it's coming out again.
allowing us to make you just.
Well,
bring
thanks for
your-
having me. I'm sorry about the internet.
Yeah, no, I want to apologize for that. Like, thanks for hanging in there with us and dealing with it. And And
anything we can do to bring your
I'm not
IQ
sure
down?
that it's you. I'm. And you
Bob,
can
what'd you say?
clip it.
I said anything we can do to
And
bring your IQ down. You know,
whatever-
hanging out with us.
I got you.
Whenever y'all want to come down, whenever y'all want to come down for a Friday Night Lights, you have a place to stay. You can come see Anna, Texas.
Oh,
We
I may
only have
take you
one
up on that because
until recently.
one
We now have
one thing we didn't even touch on is the fact that my son is moving down there here in like 2 months. He's got a full-time
I'm surprised
job
you
offer.
didn't. I'm surprised you
I
didn't
know, I
throw
thought
that
you-
up immediately.
I thought you were setting yourself up for that when you brought up Dallas.
Yeah.
Or when you
So
brought
go
up-
ahead,
yeah.
Bob. Go
Well-
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm not the bragging type,
Well-
but my son is moving to Dallas for a full-time job position that starts in September, and so we will be down in your neck of the woods a little more often.
He's gonna be working
he's
at
gonna
the
be a
Starbucks.
dolphin guy at SeaWorld
Well,
down there.
Call me when you're here.
Well, we got to do
I
it.
can't
Right.
find it. Why are there so
There's
many?
no SeaWorld in Dallas, so now you know.
There it is.
So
It,
that drop
it's
that
kind of
he just played
Well,
is my
call me
son.
when you're here. We'll not go eat barbecue together. But call me when you're here.
Yes, we'll go eat something else, but
All
not
right.
barbecue. Yeah.
all right. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, wrap
Lori.
this up, Bob.
All right. So for my brothers Jamie, Andy, Rudy, and our guest Lori Soto. Until next
y'all.
time,
Bye.
quit acting stupid.
Not to get into too much troubles, okay?